Do you ever wish you had a hotline to heaven and could just escape all this tension and drama and discomfort that everyone is just completely rattled by in the outer world? It's true, the planet is changing and the process of change is messy and ugly and awful. And for so many of us who are sensitive, it's a bit too much. So today I'm going to talk to you about how to get a direct hotline to a higher frequency, because when you get so saturated with this negative energy, it can be challenging. My name is Sonia Choquette, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to create a sacred inner state, how to reclaim the spirit in you, and how to use oracle decks to begin to talk to your higher self as a way to override all that intellectual overthinking, the fear, and the negative vibrations of the outer world. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy it. The first thing I want to talk about is the retrieving of the sacred. Used to be that people really did understand way a long time ago, and many of us still hold on to that we need to have a sacred outer expression and connection to ourselves. We can't just go through life trying to just use the left brain and figure everything out. For one, think about it. You try to figure things out and use only your intellect and only what's obvious. It's like a squirrel caught in a cage, just going around and around and around and getting more and more frantic. And besides, that cage is the information and experiences from your past. And most of that past is wounded past. So it's a powerless past. It's a feeling of I've been wronged, or life is not okay, or I have failed, or whatever other conclusion you've drawn. We have to get out of that. And the way to get out of that is to connect to the sacred in us. And the best way to do that is to begin by remembering rituals and to create outer reminders of the sacred in your life. So where you look, you see. Like, for example, I always like to have a living plant, something very beautiful and miraculous in my immediate surroundings to remind me that life is a mystery, and it's a beautiful one that likes to grace me with its beauty. So look around your environment right now. Do you have any sort of beautiful mirroring back to you? Is there anything live, maybe a plant, a flower, fish, even a beautiful cat or a dog just kind of being present and sending you love? That's one big thing. The second thing is I like to create altars. There's one behind here. This is an altar to my family where I have the pictures of the people I love who are dear to me. I ring a bell there. I acknowledge and thank those souls for being in my life and helping me grow. I have it in my other rooms, and I have two apartments, one in here, one in Paris. I have a whole altar to my inner child that's filled with stuffed animals and toys and pictures of me as a kid. It just reminds me that my focus needs to be bigger than the immediate and certainly what's being controlled by the outside. So that's another thing you can do, is to create an altar, which, okay, how do you do that? There are no rules. You just find a little sacred space, a little undisturbed space. It could be on a dresser. It can be on a small table, on a mantle. I have a whole other altar on my mantle where you place things that bring you back to the idea of gratitude and the feeling, more than the idea, the feeling of gratitude and connection and love, and that you are supported. The next thing is I like ritual. Rituals can be like ringing a bell, a very easy ritual, but one you have to pay attention to. I like lighting a candle. So I just was given this candle. This is a Virgin Mary of Guadalupe candle, which really spoke to me. It was a gift. It's absolutely beautiful. So when I light the candle, the power of the candle is the fire, the flame, because the flame represents the spirit in all of it and our connection to divine spirit. So when you want to get guidance, you want to prepare, and you want to begin to put yourself in that state of receptivity. So one of the things you can do is you can put yourself in a beautiful state. My teachers always said, before you ask for guidance, take a shower. That's not mentioned very often, and it may not be very practicable. When you want to really be receptive, taking that shower kind of clears off, or even if you can't take a shower, wash your hands in your face just to say, I'm clear. I'm clearing away the fog. That's a very big deal. Next, you light that candle if you can, or at least light the fire in your heart by your breath, where you take 4 breaths in, hold and feel that light, that flame of your heart, and then exhale. And as you exhale, like you're blowing out candles, see that flame expanding so that you're connecting to that divine flame and not to that figure-out squirrel in a cage that doesn't have any good ideas. Now, here's another thing that's really exciting about connecting to the divine before you work with oracles, which is what we're going to talk about today. And this is something that my teacher told me. He said, all spiritual masters and teachers before a sacred ceremony would put on their robes. So I brought my favorite robe. It's my cozy. And I recommend that you get a favorite robe. So let me just get this. I'm sitting on it. But, there's something about getting in a robe because it feels comfy and it wraps you. So if you have a favorite robe or a favorite shawl or a favorite wrap, they used to actually have in many traditions prayer shawls or wraps. And I feel that putting on something that soothes your nerves is really powerful when you want to connect with the divine. So you surround yourself, you take the shower, you create some beauty, you light your candle, you put on your robe, and you go within. And here's some important points. I want you to recognize the universe will help you. You are deeply loved, and you have so many spirit guides, like truly legions and legions of divine supporters in the subtle realms, but they can't do a thing for you unless you're genuinely receptive. So that's the first check. Am I asking for help, or am I asking for the universe to agree with whatever the squirrel in the cage in my brain is asking me to insist on? Am I available to genuine help, to genuine guidance? And which means, can I hear something other than my own opinion? Because there's no point in connecting with it, using an oracle or trying in any way to get intuitive guidance if you're not genuinely open. Now, here's how you can be open. Give yourself permission to listen, to take in the information and consider it, but you're not obligated to find it or follow it. You're not obligated to follow it. You're just invited to hear it. And I invite you to not only be open, but consider it. Because we have this knee-jerk reaction so many times to things where we have an idea of the way it should be, the way I want it. I get a bright idea. I know I do. I get big ideas in my head, big inspirations, and I'm all in so fast. And then I ask my guides. And often they say, pump the brakes, slow down. In your mind, this is a good idea, but in reality, you wouldn't like this at all. Not at all. And that has proven to be the case almost every time. So I allow for myself to get in the state, put on the shower, put in my robe, light my candle, get really centered, and then do what I call an honesty vibe check. What do I really want to hear guidance on? Where am I truly available? And say it out loud. I really need guidance on my relationship. And not, how can I make this person do what I want? I really need guidance. Is it to let go? Is it to be patient? Is to do more of something? Where's the guidance? Then the next thing is that when you really start the glorious benefit of oracles, which is what I was taught with in the very beginning by my mom, who was my first spiritual teacher, is oracles help in a lot of different ways. Now, today I'm going to share with you my brand new oracle, but it's actually an oracle that has had a history, and it's called the Ask Your Guides Oracle, because this is what we're working with. Now, 20 years ago, I created an oracle deck called Ask Your Guides, fabulous, my best-selling Oracle deck. People have said the guidance has been so absolutely consistently helpful. But guess what? The world has changed. Our guides have changed. New guides are coming in. New forms of guidance are coming in, and they up-leveled the intensity. So let me show you my new guide deck. This is the cover of my Ask Your Guides deck. It's so bright because this is the frequency coming in. So just take in the frequency of this beautiful, beautiful light. It just kind of feels joyful. It's like, oh God, thank God the Calvary's coming in. So that's the first thing. Now I'm using this, but you may have your own. I'm excited about this deck because it's specific to the new guides coming in. And this was just released. I've been working on it for quite a while. So anyway, when you open a deck, the first thing you're going to see is a guidebook. And you know what I think you should do with that guidebook? Put it away. This is just if you're truly, truly, truly stuck and you cannot in any way feel a connection directly communicating with the cards. So this is not necessary. This isn't the, oops, see, it's even jumping out of my hand. This guidebook, we've been taught to follow the instructions. So there is a guidebook for a little bit of instruction, but the true instruction is images. Connect to your spirit, to your heart. So you want a little book with images. So now, here are the cards. Here's the deck of cards themselves. First, and like I said, this is any oracle, but working with mine. Now, the blue I love because the blue expresses the universe, and then the cards themselves are so bright, so dynamic. I'll just show you a few of them. But I want you to feel more the energy. There's a new energy coming into the planet right now, and this oracle deck is very attuned to the new energy. So when you work with an oracle for guidance, you put on your robe, you get comfy, you surround yourself. You can even say a prayer. I always ask for guidance of unconditional love or higher, and anything else is blocked. So that the only thing that enters my realm of consciousness is going to be uplifting, healing, and help me fulfill my spiritual soul plans and growth and expression and bring the best of me to the planet and experience the best of me and receive the best. Now, one of the things you can do with an oracle is you hold it like this, they are big, and you want to just shuffle it back and forth. Now, the reason for this, and I recommend you sit and just do this sort of as something to do instead of scrolling on your phone. You just shuffle back and forth, and several things are happening at one time. First, this deck is taking on your vibration, and it becomes your deck and your portal to conversation with your guides. Now, when you do this, you're also going left brain, right brain, left brain, right brain, and that balances the hemispheres and calms down the squirrel in the cage brain that just has been making so much noise and causing all that stress in your body. So you just sort of sit back like this, left, right. You can close your eyes and let yourself relax. Oracles are portals. They're powerful, and they let you relax when you work with them. And you can even focus on breathing in. And don't ask anything until you feel nice and calm. Don't ask anything. And then, instead of should I this or should I that, the way to communicate with an oracle is to present it this way. The challenge I'm facing is, that's one thing. Or, I don't know where I should focus my attention. Give me guidance for what is best right now or next. You can approach this oracle and have a conversation every day. It's like a telephone to the higher self, to your angels and guides, light beings, teachers, joy guides, healers, departed others, nature spirits. It just really kind of wire you into this whole network of support. You know, when we first opened up the web, it took a while for people to get clear about, I can go on the web and get information that my brain didn't know, my awareness didn't know, and I can pull that in instead of have to slug it out and go through my, ordinary way of getting that information. And it's the same with working with an oracle. It takes you to a bigger realm. It invites you to get out of your fearful ego self and into and reconnected to your divine spirit, to the part of you that does know, is wired, is available, remembers who you are, and is powerful. And so that even if you never ask a question, just sitting and shuffling, guess what? A lot of times the answers will come up. The waves of peace will show up. The clarity will become evident. Now, one of the ways that you can, people say, can I use an oracle every day? You can start your morning this way. Just take a few moments, brush your teeth, wash your face, your hands, sit down, surround yourself with something beautiful, light a candle, keep on your comfy robe, or have a sacred robe. They're a white robe, whatever speaks to you. My mom always wore a white robe, and that she was very adamant that brought in the light. And I do agree. I have sacred white robes as well. And then you shuffle back and forth like this. It takes a minute, but you'll get it until the cards start to feel like yours. And then you can ask for the morning, what is the focus of the day? And then you shuffle, you fan them out like this. And believe me, it's a process. So you fan them out like this. And then you take your hand. So I fan with the left and I take the right, which is my movement into the day. And you just feel where you are. I think you should close your eyes and you feel, and then you're going to pull out a card. One is just going to call to you. Sometimes others don't. So if they do, you want to look at them all. So this is what I got today. And it makes me laugh because of what we're doing. But my card is new life. And the guides are teacher guides, which are the ones that I said brought me to this in the beginning. So the teacher guides are available. And the point is, we're moving into a new life. And I am teaching and sharing and expressing that with you right now. So I have to connect with those guides and think, okay, new life. And then your left brain goes, new life. What does that mean? Give me more. But go to your heart instead. Put your hand on your heart. What does that new life look like? What does that feel like? What does it sound like? What am I experiencing? What am I allowing? What would I welcome in? So let that message travel in. It might not make sense in the beginning, but it's not just information. It's a transmission. That's what the Ask Your Guides deck offers, is this transmission from your guides to give you the energy you need. So that's one way. That's my message for the day. Now, what if you have an issue? So say you're struggling with something. I'll do a reading for someone who's saying, look, I have to change my job. I have a person in mind. So I'm going to think of a client I've been mentoring. Says, I have to change my job. I love the pay. I know it's not aligned with my paths. I have responsibilities to my family. I have a new baby on the way. I feel really incongruent. I'm really not clear. I'm troubled. I wake up. I don't know what to do. So that could be a 3-card conversation. So I always like to say, working with the Ask Your Guides Oracle, or frankly any, but especially, and that was my intention with this oracle, it's a conversation. So the first conversation is, okay, question 1, what does this dilemma, what about this dilemma am I missing? Because everything in life presents an opportunity. So you shuffle, you spread, you put your hand out, and here I'm going to pull one. And in my case, I have ease. And the guides that are talking to you in this card with this situation are the runner guides. And they're saying, you are forgetting that life doesn't have to be hard. We want to bring in ease. We want to help you because runner guides connect you to the next thing. So your mind is saying, well, I got to hold on to this. This is all there is. If I leave, it's not easy. And the runner guides are saying, well, we'll make it easy if you allow it. So the next question is, well, what would be the best next step, next movement, decision, frame of mind? And again, what's next? So you pull another card. So this time, and you let your hand feel. Now I'm being pulled over here. And so what I'm getting is pause, higher self. and the higher self. I love this card. Look how beautiful this card is. Pause. So pause means to get clear. Why would I pause? A lot of reasons. Maybe you would pause because you have to get out of this mindset of, if I make a move that makes me happy, it hurts my family. Maybe you have to get back in that saying, get back in touch with your higher self. Pause doesn't mean stop. And it doesn't mean don't do necessarily anything outside. In this case, pause your thinking. Pause the path of consciousness you're on. Pause and let your higher self inform you about what's next, that it's not what it looks like. It's not black or white, all or nothing, drama, trauma. And change often for people represents loss. So it's saying pause, reconnect with your higher self, here to help you. All the guides are here to help you. So you got to stop your own chaos to let it in. And then we're going to take a third question. And what's next? Where am I going? So we're going to just feel again. And you don't get in your head about it. Let your body choose. You pull the next card. And the next card is restriction. Now this is saying you're restricting yourself, and the joy guides want to relieve you. You're in restriction. Pause. Look at how you're holding yourself back. Look at how you're holding yourself back. The joy guides are saying, you don't have to live this way. Your imagination is something we can help take you to so that you aren't stuck. So this situation is 99% in their head. They block themselves. The squirrel in the cage said, if I get out, I'm abandoning my family. I need to reconnect, open the door of the cage, get back to the creative side of me. And let this be a fun experience, not an awful experience, a fun experience, okay? So when you work with an oracle, it's inviting you to review and rethink things, be different. This oracle, my oracle, the Ask Your Guides oracle, is about let us help you and not just give you guidance, but transmission. Let us actually bring you the energy and the help that's missing. Now, this is very different than what our left brains think. Our left brains really think I'm all by myself and no one's helping me. But when you start to level up to your fifth dimension self and you start to work with your guides, the biggest dynamic shift that you will experience is the feeling, the understanding, the awareness. I am not alone. I have help. And the real challenge is to allow it to come in. So, like, I'm going to show you again. This is the Ask Your Guides oracle. The instruction book is there. So when you ask the question, you get the guidance. There's a couple things I recommend, but the most important is I really want you to write it down. I want you to write down what you got, and I want you to say with your guides, okay, I'll consider this for a day or so. I will consider this. I will truly be open, because my intellect might immediately say, it makes no sense. Or, and this is another challenge of the intellect, push back and say, I don't know what this means. This is all dumb. These are just pictures. But these images open up the portal to your inner self. They speak 1,000 words. And the biggest healing is, as you look at those images, you reclaim a piece of yourself. You do. Now, for those of you who really doubt that will happen, there's quite an in-depth, and there is an in-depth description and invitation of what that message is and how to connect available in the guidebook. But I don't want you to go there first, because what's really trying to happen for all of us is this reweaving back to working with our guides and our higher self. We have to give it a chance. It's not instant in that we go, aha. Now, sometimes it is, but sometimes you might need to sit for a minute or a day. Now, my experience with guidance is if you give it 24 hours, makes sense. And you will feel the wave of support that the messages are giving you. And then you'll have affirmation. Things will change. That something will happen that really affirms for you that my guides are helping me. Whoa, I had no idea. When you're done with your reading, I want you to say thank you out loud, whether you get it or not, because your intellect, your brain definitely has to be trained a bit. So you say, okay, I'll think about that. I'll consider it. I'll be open. Thank you for the help, and I'm open for the transmission, the energy. Then you bring the effort along to a close by blowing out the candle. And that kind of closes the portal. That kind of shuts down that it's like hanging up the phone. But you can pick it up at any time, okay? So you do that. And then there's a couple more things I want to say about cards, about oracles. They are portals to your divine self and very personal. So I wouldn't let others use them. This is yours. Keep it very sacred. You can put it back. This is such a beautiful box. The little guide in there who's ready to take, you put them back in the box, the cards back in the box. And that protects the cards and sort of says, okay, it's like I'm going to take care of my phone. I'm going to take care of my connection. And then you can put your little beautiful guidebook back. And then you can put the top on. And then you can, if you want, even wrap it like in a velvet or a beautiful case, just like this robe, just like, I call this roby, just like my little roby. It just like keeps it together. And now there's just a few more things about the cards. You can consult them as much as you want, as long as you're sincere and open. You say thank you. You really listen and give it a chance. Give it a chance. Don't necessarily shop around what your guides tell you with people who don't get it or don't know or aren't in the same frequency of leveling up. But if you do have people who you can talk to about this, fabulous, just fabulous. I created a group called the Good Vibe Tribe just for that. But the key is we have to start doing things differently. And when we connect with our guides, make it a sacred thing. If you have an altar, you can leave your cards there if no one disturbs them. And I just want to share with you a quick anecdote before I go about this. I had a woman call me. She said, I was given your cards as a wedding gift at a bridal shower, and I am a lawyer, and I just thought this is a novelty. This is no big deal. Cute, fun gift. And I took them to work and stuck them in my drawer because I liked them. And then she said, about 2 weeks later, I got an email from a guy I knew in high school, and I hadn't heard from him since. We weren't particularly close. I didn't like him that much, but he, in the email, took a very familiar tone, just want to reach out, hear you're doing so well, how are you doing, blah, blah, blah. And he said, I'm just wondering if you would be amenable to giving me a work reference. I'm moving up in the world, and I want to apply for this some kind of important job. I don't remember the details. And I'd love a reference. You know me, we went to school together, and just kind of made the assumption that no big deal, you know me. She felt it's a little familiar, but no big deal. And she was actually inclined to say yes. She was like, whatever, it seemed okay. Then she remembered the oracle deck. So she pulled out the cards and she shuffled every step. Well, this is kind of weird, but so she pulls out a card, and it's the card that says deceit. And the guides that were helping her were called the helper guides. We're helping you. There's something going on here that's not truthful. So she did a little bit of a deeper dive and a deeper dig, and come to find out this guy had been in trouble and actually incarcerated more than once since high school, so over the last 18 years, which he failed to mention. And for whatever reasons, that was a flag to her that she certainly couldn't do what he had asked, and kind of threw out to her, like, hey, no big deal, what's a little support amongst friends? And she said, those cards helped me. My helper guides helped me. That one word all of a sudden opened up a whole new way, and more than not give him the referral that he had asked for, because I couldn't in good conscience, didn't know him, he wasn't honest, for a lot of reasons, but it also helped me in another way. It helped me realize how inclined I am to give people way too much benefit of the doubt and not check in with myself, not check in with what's important to me. Too spontaneous, get taken advantage of, feel a little bit exploited, and I feel angry with myself later. So that also stopped. So that's just a little anecdote about how these oracle conversations with your guides, it's more than a yes, no, but it is an immediate connect to a bigger you and a bigger source of support for you and a transmission. So these guys, if you are interested in my oracle deck, the Ask Your Guides, let me show you. Ask Your Guides oracle deck. If you're interested in this deck, you can get it wherever you buy decks, hayhouse.com, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes and Noble. It's out there. And your guides will take you to where it is. But more than just a yes, no, black, white, tell me what to do. What you're doing with this deck and what I created and was guided to create with this new, especially this new iteration, is that it really opens up the transmission for guides to come in. So it's a little bit of a longer tutorial, but I really want you to know how to work, whether it's with my deck or if you have a deck. These rituals, this creative, this state of mind, this opening, this gratitude, the beauty, bringing the sacred back in will help you get back into that fifth dimension version of you, which not only will solve your own issues, but it really will help you become part of the solutions for the bigger world that's really trying to grow right now. Thanks for tuning in. It's my pleasure to always have you here. I know your guides brought you here and they want to do so much more for you. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. All my love.